We'll see you in a few minutes. Breaking news from the New Orleans Office of Inspector General. This is in connection to the former Orleans Parish Communications District Director Tyrell Morris. Now, the Inspector General says Morris may have altered documents after he crashed while driving in an Orleans Parish government vehicle. The investigation also found that the accident was not properly reported to include the failure to adhere to the submission of a drug and alcohol test. The Inspector General says that's a violation of OPCD policy. Some members of the New Orleans City Council called for Morris to step down in spring. Morris officially resigned in July after 6 years on the job. The OIG recommending the OPCD should establish a review process for policies to ensure they are complete and not revised without an approval process. They also suggest OPCD policies on vehicle accidents should more closely mirror the city's policy. Much more on this developing story in later news.